They never told you that beauty doesn't disappear. It just gets quieter. It trades loud compliments for long stares, glitter for grace. As you age, you may find yourself wondering, am I still seen? Am I still admired? But what if the real question isn't whether you're attractive? It's whether you've noticed the way the world now sees you differently, more deeply, more reverently, more completely. This isn't about wrinkle creams or looking like your younger self. It's about the elegance you carry, the power of your presence, and the magnetism you've earned without even trying. In this story, we're not chasing youth. We're honoring the kind of beauty that only time can teach. And by the end, you may finally see what others have seen in you all along. 1. The mirror lies, but energy doesn't. Why beauty evolves with age. There's a moment in every woman's life when she pauses in front of the mirror and quietly wonders, am I still beautiful? Not in the way society defines it, with filters and wrinkle-free skin, but in the way that truly captivates. It's a quiet ache, this question, one that doesn't always get asked aloud. Yet the truth is, beauty after 50, or 60 or 70, is not only real, it's often more powerful than ever. But here's the twist. That kind of beauty has very little to do with your face, and everything to do with your presence. In this video, we're going to uncover the 7 signs you might not have noticed, the ones that prove you're a beautiful older woman in the most magnetic, timeless way. And it's not about turning heads in a crowd. It's about how people feel when they're near you, how they react to your presence, how they remember you long after you've gone. That's the kind of beauty we're talking about. The kind that grows with every year you've lived, not fades. So if you've ever questioned your glow, doubted your magnetism, or felt invisible in a world chasing youth, stay with me. You may discover that the world has been admiring you all along. You just didn't notice the signs. 2. Presence over perfection. When people compliment your energy, not just your appearance, there's something deeply telling about the kind of compliments you receive. In youth, it's often about the superficial, the glow of skin, the tightness of form, the attention-grabbing outfits. But as time stretches, the nature of beauty changes. It becomes less about what you wear and more about how you wear yourself. If you've ever had someone say, "You have such a calming presence," or "There's just something about you that feels so warm," then you're already living proof of this truth. You're a beautiful older woman, not because of what the world defines, but because of what you exude. These aren't empty compliments. They're reflections of how people feel in your company. Think of it this way. Beauty fades from the skin, but it settles into the bones of your spirit. It becomes the way you walk into a room and immediately shift the mood, not by being loud, but by being deeply present. A woman who carries wisdom, warmth, and grounded confidence doesn't have to demand attention. She invites it. Let me tell you about Clara, a 69-year-old piano teacher who never wore makeup and dressed in soft, neutral tones. But people stopped her on the street, not because of flashy fashion, but because of her peaceful eyes and the way she spoke to everyone as if they mattered. Her neighbor once said, "Being near her feels like standing in the sun. That's presence. And it's rare. If people compliment your voice, your way of listening, your smile, even your silence, you're radiating a kind of beauty that makeup can't manufacture. You are embodying what so many chase and never find, effortless, felt beauty. You are memorable, not because you tried to be, but because you were simply yourself, fully. 3. Elegance that inspires. When younger women admire your style, without you, realizing why it's one thing to keep up with fashion. It's another to carry elegance in a way that younger women quietly hope they can mirror one day. If you've ever been asked where you got your scarf, or if a younger woman told you, "I hope I age like you," pause, because that wasn't just flattery. That was a recognition of timeless beauty. Style in older age isn't about tight jeans or chasing trends. It's about grace, self-awareness, and the subtle message your presence sends before you even speak. Younger women aren't just admiring your outfit. They're admiring the confidence behind it, your decision to wear what suits you, not what suits a magazine. The way you pair textures, the simplicity of your accessories, the natural way you own your silver strands instead of hiding them. These are things they're watching closely, even if they don't say it aloud. I remember a story about Teresa, a 72-year-old landscape artist. Her closet was small but curated. She always wore linen, soft blues, silver jewelry, and a simple straw hat in summer. One day in a bookstore, a young woman approached her and said, "You look like how I want to feel." Teresa didn't quite understand until she got home and looked in the mirror, noticing for the first time the serenity in her own reflection. That's what they see in you, not youth, not trends, but a level of peace with yourself that feels magnetic. If younger people are drawn to your aesthetic, it's not just about clothes. It's about the message your look sends. I know who I am, and I like her. 4. Magnetic conversation. When people lock eyes and truly listen, when you speak, there's a kind of beauty that has nothing to do with cheekbones or eyelashes. It's the kind that emerges when you speak and people lean in. They lock eyes, they pause, they listen, not because of what you look like, but because of what you radiate. If you've ever noticed that people seem captivated by your words, or that even small talk with strangers turns into meaningful connection, this is not random. It's a reflection of your inner gravity. Beauty after a certain age becomes voice, tone, and presence. It becomes the steadiness in your sentences, the kindness in your pauses, the wisdom in your restraint. Real beauty makes others feel seen, heard, important. Think of Judith, a retired high school counselor. Her voice wasn't loud, but it had weight. When she spoke, teenagers quieted down, not because she barked commands, but because she spoke with a gentle conviction that said, "I understand." At a wedding once, someone asked her if she used to be a poet. She laughed, but the truth was, her life had become poetry. When people listen intently, when they open up to you, when conversations with you linger long after they end, it's because your presence is doing what beauty was always meant to do. Connect. If your voice calms people, if your laugh invites them in, if you've ever been told you have a way with words, then know this: your beauty isn't fading. It's echoing deeper. 5. The details they notice. When people compliment your skin, hair, or posture. Without prompt, you might not see it yourself. You might pass by the mirror quickly, focusing on what's changed, but others notice what remains, and more importantly, what has evolved. The compliments you get aren't always loud, but they're telling. Your skin glows. I love your silver hair. You carry yourself so well. These aren't throwaway lines. They're evidence that your beauty is not just visible. It's felt. Beauty after youth is built from intention, from care, from the small decisions you make daily: drinking water, walking with purpose, standing tall even when the world tries to shrink you. If someone has commented on your posture, they're seeing strength in your presence. If someone has admired your complexion, They're seeing how you've nurtured yourself. These things don't happen by accident. Take the story of Evelyn, 75, who swims 3 times a week and makes her own herbal toners. She doesn't aim to look young. She aims to feel good, and it shows. A stranger once said to her, "You remind me of my grandmother, but also a movie star." Evelyn smiled, not because of vanity, but because for once, someone saw the 2 truths she'd spent decades reconciling. You can be both aged and striking. Don't dismiss the details others praise. Hair that glimmers like silver thread. Posture that says, "I've lived, and I'm proud of it." Skin that tells the story of years spent in laughter and weather. These are not flaws. They're features of a life well worn and well loved. If people comment on these things, they're seeing the beauty of endurance, of self-care, of grace earned, not bought. And that is a kind of attractiveness no one can take from you. 6. The quiet power of confidence. When respect follows you, without you asking for it. There's a kind of beauty that walks into a room without needing to be announced. It doesn't wear bright colors to be noticed. It doesn't demand attention. It simply is. And people sense it immediately. That beauty is called confidence, not the kind born from ego, but the kind that has been earned over time. If you've ever noticed that people seem to listen when you speak, that others look to you for guidance, or that strangers treat you with a quiet reverence, you're likely carrying a beauty that doesn't just glow, it commands respect. Confidence in older women is often mistaken for elegance, but it's something deeper. It's the way you don't shrink to fit spaces. It's the way you say no without apology, and yes with clarity. It's how you hold eye contact without fear and dress for yourself, not for approval. Meet Delilah, a 74-year-old community organizer. She wears simple clothes, speaks slowly, and never interrupts. Yet every time she enters a room, people adjust themselves, sit straighter, listen better, take note. Why? Because her energy is self-assured. She doesn't posture. She doesn't perform. And that confidence radiates something magnetic. True beauty is deeply tied to self-respect. It's in the way you decline gossip, offer compassion, and carry yourself like you have nothing to prove. And you don't. If younger women admire your steadiness, if men of all ages respond to your poise, if others look to you when things feel uncertain, that's not just leadership. That's grace. And grace is the highest form of beauty. The kind that doesn't need decoration. If you've ever walked away from something that no longer honored you, or made a choice that prioritized your peace, know this: you've stepped fully into your power. And when you do, the world sees you differently, not as old, but as luminous. 7. The glances. You don't chase. When people look twice, and you finally understand why. There's a certain kind of moment that many older women dismiss too quickly. You catch someone glancing your way, perhaps on the train, at the grocery store, in a quiet cafe. They look once, then again, and quickly turn away. Maybe you assume they were being polite. Maybe you think they were just being curious. But what if I told you? Those glances are something more. They're small signs of admiration, of allure, of beauty. Not the loud kind that shouts with youth, but the subtle kind that whispers with depth. If people seem to notice you when you enter a room, even in the subtlest way, you are embodying something magnetic. This isn't about being the most dressed up or the youngest looking. It's about the quiet strength that radiates from knowing yourself. It's about how your stillness speaks louder than noise, how your presence softens a room. Take Rose, 68, a retired librarian. She never thought of herself as particularly remarkable. But strangers often offered her a smile, waiters remembered her drink, and on walks people turned to look, just briefly. One day, a man held a door open and said, "You carry peace." That's when it hit her. It wasn't about beauty in the way she once understood it. It was about impact. People weren't looking because she looked young. They were looking because she made them feel something. A woman who moves with purpose, who wears her age with elegance, who isn't chasing validation. She becomes captivating in ways that stop people mid-thought. When someone steals a glance at you, they're not always admiring a feature. Sometimes they're admiring your freedom, your authenticity, your undeniable essence. And it's okay to own that. You don't need to question why people are looking. You don't need to downplay it. You just need to remember, eyes follow light, and you've become your own kind of light. If you've ever felt like beauty left you as the years passed, let this truth land gently in your heart. It didn't leave. It changed shape. It matured. It deepened. It grew stronger in the places no mirror could show. You see, the world taught us to chase youth as if it were the only version of worth, as if the only desirable woman was the one with wrinkle-free skin and a body untouched by time. But real beauty, lasting, unforgettable, soul-stirring beauty, has always been about presence, grace, and impact. It's in the way you make someone feel seen. It's in the way your eyes say, "I've been through it, and I'm still here." Let's look back on the signs. People compliment your presence, not just your looks. Younger women admire your style and elegance. Conversations with you are magnetic. Your skin, hair, and posture draw praise. Your confidence quietly commands respect. Your warm presence makes others feel at ease. And yes, sometimes people steal glances at you because something in you glows. If even one of these signs felt familiar, then it's time you stop wondering whether you're still attractive and start realizing that your beauty is not only intact, it's expanding. You are the proof that beauty doesn't fade. It evolves. It becomes deeper, realer, more powerful. You may have been looking for beauty in old photographs, but your beauty is standing in front of you now, wiser, stronger, quieter. The kind that doesn't need the room's attention to feel whole. The kind that earns glances, not for looking young, but for living fully. So, the next time you catch someone looking, don't look away. Smile. Let them see the kind of beauty that only grows more magnetic with time. Because here's the truth that no one tells you when you're younger. Some women don't peak in their 20s. Some women bloom later, and when they do, the world can't look away.